KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that caring for the community means caring about the climate. You might have heard that we announced a pretty bold 12-month, $2 million campaign to do 4 things. Increase climate literacy, turn up the volume on communities of color in the climate conversation, connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive, and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world if we care enough. If we care enough. If we care enough. If we care enough. If we care enough.
We all agree that America has a very serious problem.
Okay, KBLA delegation, we need your help as we launch our 2024 climate justice campaign. We would deeply appreciate you going to our KBLA 1580 website and filling out a short climate justice survey, which will help us better serve our beloved community as we build out this campaign. It'll take you just a few short minutes to complete the online survey, and the information you provide us will be invaluable as we do our part to hold folk accountable and amplify the voices of our people in this climate conversation. When you take the survey, you'll be automatically entered to win seats at our annual Black History Month luncheon, Thursday, February 29th. So, hit our website at KBLA 1580. Help us out by taking the short climate justice campaign survey, and you could be our guest at our annual Black History Month luncheon, Thursday, February 29th. Thank you in advance for your consideration and cooperation. At KBLA Talk 1580, we care about the community, we care about the climate. We care about the climate.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Wake up, Mr. West, Mr. West, Mr. Fresh, Mr. By himself, he's so impressed. I mean, damn, did you even see the test? You got D's, D's, Rosie Perez, and yes, barely passed any and every class. Looking at every, cheated on every test. I guess this is my dissertation, homie. This is basic. Welcome to graduation. Good morning.
KBLA Talk 1580. Good morning indeed. I'm so glad that you are here with us as we continue our quest to get to know the folks that are running for office, the people that want your vote, the people that are on our ballots. And I think this is an important moment when we get to make these choices, and there's nothing better than having a conversation with the person to find out firsthand. If you've missed these conversations, they're all available at KBLA1580.com. They're available on YouTube, but if you don't want to sort through all the other interviews and you just want to go straight to candidates, we are your election information station, and it is all up there for you. So our next guest is also running for Senate, State Senate, District 35. He's Camino College trustee, a teacher, an attorney, and a community advocate. He says he was raised by a single mom, and he's experienced the struggles of working class families in District 35. He says he is of Costa Rican, Italian, and Argentine descent, and he went to Gulf Avenue School in Wilmington and Halldale Avenue School in Harbor Gateway, and there's a lot more, but I'll let him tell you. Nilo Vega Michelin, welcome.
Welcome, Dominique, and thank you for being the only radio station that interviews the state Senate candidates, and being the only progressive talk radio show in LA. And I have a lot of respect for the great Tavis Smiley.
Yes, as do we. Thank you for your kind words. You say the only progressive station. Do you consider yourself a progressive?
I certainly do. I'm the only candidate that has not taken any corporate donations. I consider myself a progressive. Housing costs too much. Healthcare is out of reach for many families, and we have pollution affecting the health of working class families and our kids.
What does that mean to you in terms of your kind of political orientation or your policy goals? Being progressive, how does that look?
Well, number one, I'm not taking any corporate or developer donations. And I think that's very important because Sacramento is broken because there's too much corporate money, too much developer money in the system. So I think that's the first step to walk the walk. And as a result, I'm not going to be influenced by corporate interests, by developer interests, and I can take care of these issues like housing, like healthcare, like pollution.
Well, KBLA, I'm sure has launched this climate justice year where we're really focusing on particularly Black communities and the climate emergency, but also everybody, because all of us need a planet. What kinds of policies can be implemented or bolstered statewide to address the climate emergency?
Well, you're right. Pollution affects Black families, Latino families, Asian families, and white families, all working class families in the district. And I think we need to hold corporate polluters responsible. We have all these emergencies lately. We have a sewage spill in San Pedro, an oil spill in Wilmington. We've had toxic fumes being released in Carson. So we need these corporate polluters and government polluters to be held accountable.
Yeah. Big article in the LA Times today about how all that water we just experienced, 90% of it is washing away into the ocean. What about that? I mean, water, some say is the new oil.
That's true. I mean, I think Mark Twain said that, people drink whiskey and fight over water, and that's what's going on right now. So we have to make, it's a precious commodity. We got to make sure that it's not out of reach, and we have to make sure that we don't have these sewage spills and toxic spills.
Your website says that you are looking to implement long-term solutions to the housing crisis and houselessness. That is something I think we all agree on. I believe every candidate I've talked to says that, but how do we make it a reality and not just a platitude?
Well, number one, we've got to end gentrification. We have all these developers coming in and building these luxury townhomes in our communities. So we have to limit that. We have to create a housing trust, which is going to build more affordable housing. We have to provide down payment assistance for first-time home buyers so it's not out of reach. And we have to fund a silent second mortgage. And this is going to reduce mortgage payments because you won't have to pay this second mortgage until you sell your house. So you're not going to be saddled by this very high mortgage rent. And yes, we do have to provide mental health services and drug rehab services, but we also need to audit homeless bonds and programs because, for example, Proposition HHH is $1.2 million. Some units are going to be costing $837,000. So we can do better. Our working class families are paying a lot of taxes for that, and we need to make sure that these funds are being used efficiently.
So you would audit the programs and the bonds, and how would you do that?
Well, that's already been done, and the controller's already doing it. I think it's a continuous process. They've already discovered that we voted for Proposition HHH. It was supposed to provide 10,000 units. It's only provided 1,200. So we can do better. We got to keep on monitoring it. We got to keep on auditing it to get the most return on our on our funding, because we are spending a lot of money on this. We need to spend more, but it needs to be spent efficiently.
Yeah, I mean, I'm aware of those analysis that come out intermittently about, as you referenced, $500,000 a unit and the inefficiencies. I thought you were talking about some kind of new accountability measure, because it's a lot of it is based on regulations and various bureaucratic obstacles that end up making these projects cost so much, right?
Exactly. That's part of the process. We have to eliminate the bureaucratic red tape.
Mm. And how do you feel about reparations? I mean, this is the seat that is currently occupied by Senator Steve Bradford. He's been a leader in both police reform and the area of reparations. Actually, would love for you to touch on both of those.
Yeah, I'm a high school history teacher, so I fully support reparations. I commend Senator Bradford's efforts. I would continue that. I think we need, the cash payments. And as far as criminal justice reform, I think we do need some police reform. But at the same time, we need to, look at this as a complex issue and maybe have change some of the punishments. If you're a first-time offender, then yes, it should be a less punishment. But repeat offenders, we need to increase the punishment for that.
So you'd be for increasing like mandatory minimum sentences, or just the discretion of the judge to go with a longer sentence for people who are repeat offenders? I mean, this is California. We still have the three strikes law. So
judge, as far as
yeah.
Yes. For repeat offenders, I think the judges need that discretion, because what we see going on with the thefts going on in society and so forth.
So what does that look like in terms of in terms of mass incarceration? You know what I mean? Like here in LA County, we're struggling to close the men's central jail, and voters have repeatedly asked for restorative justice and a care first model. At the same time, you have some of the same folks saying, as we saw in our KBLA Talk 1580 survey on public safety, that they want more law enforcement. So what does that look like? I mean, you are saying, well, judges should have discretion to give longer sentences. We already have the three strikes. We already have one of the biggest prison populations in the nation. How do those two goals align?
Well, I think that KBLA survey is a great report, and it tells you that voters are they're not looking for one size fits all. They're looking for solutions for this complex situation. So I think we need more community policing. I do think we need some discretion as far as repeat offenders. But we also need, as El Camino trustee, we have a program to help students coming in that were formerly incarcerated. We help them with programs. We help them with support and funding. So that's all part of the solution. And that KBLA survey says that most voters, do feel that there's more crime. So we need to address that.
Okay, we're talking with Nilo Michelin. He is seeking your vote for California State Senate District 35, and we'll continue the conversation about why that would be a good choice for you when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do Black history every single day. In fact, as the only Black talk radio station west of the Mississippi, we are Black history. Our annual Black History Month luncheon is fast approaching, and we want to be sure to give you ample time to get your company, organization, church, or group to join us at this year's celebration on the last day of the month, Thursday, February 29th at noon. Last year, we honored iconic local Black media personalities, including Pat Harvey, Jim Hill, Mark Brown, Beverly White, Sam Andy Banks and Pat Prescott and raised $20,000 in scholarships. This year, we're honoring Black Hollywood creatives who have used their artistic genius as climate justice champions. At this year's luncheon, we will be showcasing and sharing their inspiring work on our big screen. Plus, a scrumptious meal, live music, great company, and lots of fun with your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts. So contact us today at info@smileyAudiomedia.com or call 323-290-4690. That's info@smileyAudiomedia.com or call 323-290-4690. We hope to see you Thursday, February 29th as we close out Black History Month. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Hey, I have a secret. I use Secret Whole Body Deodorant because more than just my armpits stink.
Oh, can I use it where my bra rubs under my...
Oh, yeah.
And what about down there? You know, my...
Totally. 4 out of 5 gynecologists would recommend it. So I tried it, and now I get 72 hours of freshness from my pits to my...
Ooh, I love that it's a spray.
Me too. And it comes in sticks and creams too. Go get your Secret Whole Body Deodorant.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
When you're rolling Charmin, ultra soft on the party. Less is more, so roll it back, everybody. Charmin's irresistibly soft and hella nice. My grip is always soft. It's our party vibe. It's cushion and clean, so our cheeks feel flat. So what? Every booty wanna touch the sky.
Charmin Ultra Soft is irresistibly soft and more absorbent, so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
It does, and we are talking Senate District 35. Nilo Michelin is a community college. He's on the Community College Board of Trustees, and he would like your vote for Senate District 35. Depending on who you ask, Los Angeles County, Los Angeles, Southern California area is either a hotbed of division between black and brown, or it is a land of opportunity and coalition. And certainly it's been in the spotlight since the explosive secret recording of Nuri Martinez and Ron Herrera, Kevin De Leon, and Gil Cedillo. How do you process that division or opportunity? Where do you fall on that spectrum? What can you say to black voters who are concerned that perhaps a Latino representative would not thoroughly back up our interests?
Well, thank you, Dominique. I say, look at my experience. I have experience in building coalitions as a school board member in Hawthorne, which is a very diverse community, as a city council member in Hawthorne, as an El Camino College trustee. The El Camino district includes Hawthorne, Inglewood, goes all the way to the South Bay. And we also helped the Compton Community College turn around. So I have an experience in building coalition. It is a land of opportunity. This is not a black, Latino, white, or Asian district. I think it's a working class district with similar values, similar concerns. The KBLA survey of black voter concerns are the concerns of all working class families in the district. So I think we need to look at the candidate that has a history of building coalitions.
Okay. I think, when you say you have a history of it, can you share like an example?
As a school board member, we created the Hawthorne Math and Science Academy. I'm very proud of that. As on the El Camino College, on the El Camino College board, we've opened up the Black Student Success Center. We have the MESA program, which helps underrepresented students get into STEM programs. So I have experience in building coalitions, and I totally reject Kevin De Leon and that whole. It's not a zero-sum game. We all have the same values.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be, does it? Okay, so I want to. What would you say is your number one priority when because we know that housing and public safety and education, healthcare are all priorities for most of us who live in this state. What is the priority for you?
I think my number one priority in order to address all those important issues that you talked about is keep corporate donations out of elections. I've taken no corporate donations, no developer donations. We need to keep that because we need to keep that money out of there because that's causing a lot of the problems that we see. And so second would be to hold corporate polluters responsible. I'm going to be fighting for the working class families and not for the corporations and developers.
It's interesting in your website, you a lot of people talk about money from police unions and they talk about money from big oil. Those are the pledges that I most commonly see folks signing. But you also, in all caps, bolded out no tech money. Why is that so important?
That goes with all corporation money. That was a group that approached me that was very concerned about tech money, overruling everything and warping decisions. And I agreed with it, and I signed on with it. And it's part of my pledge to not take corporate money and not take developer money and not take big tech money because I think they're affecting the democratic system and the decisions that are being made.
How do you believe, if it will, that your background as a high school teacher will influence your work as a lawmaker should you be elected?
I deal with these students every day. I deal with the students in the district every day. I'm teaching in Southgate. A lot of my students are from Watts, from Southgate, from South Central. So I know what they're going through. During COVID, some of my students couldn't go to school because they were working in their family business. A lot of my students were affected by COVID and deaths in the family. These working class families took the brunt of COVID epidemic. So I know what they're going through day by day, and that's going to affect my policy, my decisions, not donations from corporations and developers.
There was a report actually published in the LA Times a few days ago about how young people have not bounced back in California with their academic loss. And I would argue as a mama that also the mental health piece, the social, emotional piece is far from healed. What needs to be done on a policy level or a budget level to address that loss and get us on the road to recovery?
You're right, Dominique. I see it every day. You see it every day. We need to address it head on. There are mental issues. There are equity funding issues. We need to have programs to help them out because there is a real mental crisis going on. So we need to have a mental health program. We need to have an education program to address it.
Okay, I try to get everything in before we run out of time. You talked a little bit about your idea of a balance between stricter enforcement and stricter enforcement, but also police reform. What does that reform part look like? We spoke on longer sentences, but what you said, more community policing. What else? I mean, is it training? Is it moving? Like, for example, do you support cops out of stops? Do you support removing homeless and mental health responses from law enforcement hands?
Yes, definitely. We don't need police officers out there doing, mental health checks and mental services. Leave that for the professionals. Training, definitely. We need to overhaul that for more community policing situation. And we also need to hold, bad police officers accountable. I support Senator Bradford's efforts in that area. But at the same time, the KBLA survey said that, black voters and working class voters are concerned about the punishment. And I'm not saying get rid of 3 strikes, but I'm saying that if you're a repeat offender, there should be an adequate punishment for that. And a lot of working class families feel that way.
You said you're not saying get rid of 3 strikes, so you would support the continuation of that policy?
No. I'm saying I would continue the effort to reduce the effects of 3 strikes. If your 3rd strike is student repeats or something like that.
Got it. Okay. Give us your elevator pitch. 1 minute about why we should vote for Nilo Michelin for Senate.
I was raised by a single mom from Costa Rica. I know the effects of working class families. I have not taken any donations from corporations, from developers. I'm going to fight for you and not the corporations, not the developers.
Okay, that was succinct. Tell us how to find all your. Try to do this before the top of the hour. Try to give us all the places we can find you and follow your work.
Sure. My name is Nilo, N as in North, I-L-O, Michelin, like the tires. You can look me up, nilomichelin.com, NILOMICHELIN.com. Nilo Michelin at Facebook. My email is nilomichelin@gmail.com. Michelin, like the tires. The election is March the 5th. Thank you for providing this very important service, Dominique.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining us. You got a minute left. What do you want to leave us with this morning?
I want to leave with what I was talking about. It's very important. Who's taking corporate money? Who's taking developer money? Go look at Cal Access. Go look at all the 460s, the financial forms. It's all available for the public. And you'll see that I am your candidate. I'm going to be fighting for you and not the corporations, not the developers. Michelin, like the tires, the election is on March the 5th.
Okay, 30 seconds. You want to sprinkle a couple of endorsements on top?
My endorsements, I'm proud to be endorsed by the El Camino Board of Trustees, Trustee Murakawa, Trustee Roberts. I'm proud to be endorsed by different Lawndale City Council Shirley Cuevas. I'm proud to be endorsed by different people in the community, but mostly I'll be endorsed by people in the community, everyday people in the community.
Excellent. Nilo Michelin, thank you for joining us this morning. I appreciate you checking in.
Thank you. Thank you for the service you provided to the public. You're the only one that does it. So thank you very much, Dominique.
Appreciate you. News, traffic, and sports right now on KBLA Talk 1580.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. 2 police officers have been shot and up to 8 people are unaccounted for following a standoff at a house fire near Philadelphia. Officers responded to a call Wednesday afternoon at a home where they were immediately met with gunfire. The house then became engulfed in flames. It's believed the shooter is one of the 6 to 8 people unaccounted for. Shannon Sharp's podcast is back in the spotlight again after having African-American actress and comedian Monique on the show. Much like Cat Williams last month, Monique used the Club Shay Shay podcast to air out grievances with A-list celebrities and the film industry. She accused the industry of blackballing due to race and compared herself to actress Melissa McCarthy, but with less opportunities. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Robert Half research indicates 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. Their recruiting professionals use proprietary AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Apparently, the Clippers still have some jet lag issues after being on the road for 7 games in 13 days. They were sluggish last night against New Orleans. The Clippers committed 19 turnovers and lost by 11 at Crypto.com. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George made only 7 of 25 shots. PG was 0 for 8 on three-pointers. This team needs some rest. The NBA trade deadline is today at noon. The Lakers may be on the clock. Stay tuned. Kobe Bryant's statue will be unveiled today at 3 p.m. in Star Plaza outside Crypto. Kobe is the 6th Lakers player to have a statue outside the arena. He joins Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Elgin Baylor, Jerry West, Shaquille O'Neal, and Magic Johnson. The NFL Hall of Fame, the class of 2024, will be announced tonight in Vegas. Former Chargers tight end Antonio Gates, an 8-time All-Pro, is among the finalists. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Got me a damn girl on my team.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe we have the best tag team in morning radio. Dominique DiPrima and Tavis Smiley. As the first black woman in Los Angeles to anchor a morning drive talk radio show, Dominique covers local politics like a blanket. Weekday mornings from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. At 9 a.m., Dominique passes the baton to Tavis Smiley, who talks to everybody about everything every day until 12 noon. KBLA's dynamic duo, Dominique and Tavis. It's no wonder the LA Civil Rights Department is honoring Dominique DiPrima this year at its Tell Our Story honoring black journalist leaders and storytellers event, Thursday, February 8th. Or that the John M. Langston Bar Association of Los Angeles is honoring Tavis Smiley at its 47th Annual Installation and Scholarship Awards Gala with its Community Impact Award on February 10th. We couldn't be more proud of Dominique and Tavis, who make black history every day, not just in February. If you're missing Dominique and Tavis weekday mornings on KBLA Talk 1580, you're missing out. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
Holla, yeah.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
It's never been faster or easier to be a voter. Look for your vote by mail ballot in the mail. Fill it in and drop it off at a mailbox on your way to work, on your daily walk, or when dropping the kids off at school. Save time and vote early. Make a plan to vote at plan.lavote.gov. That's plan.lavote.gov. Brought to you by the Los Angeles County Registrar.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Of course I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean tough messes off my stovetop and bathtub. But then I discovered I can also use it to easily clean my patio furniture and even my shoes. I'm hooked.
And when wipes won't cut it, I use Magic Eraser Sheets. They're thin and flexible erasers, perfect for everyday messes, like gunk on my counters and sinks. They really are magical.
The reviews are in. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and Sheets make cleaning look easy.
Hey, Joe Montana here. Back in my football days, I knew the importance of a strong defense. Now I'm sharing how you can help defend your health against pneumococcal pneumonia, a bacterial lung disease that can be life-threatening. If you're 65 or older, or 19 or older with certain chronic conditions like diabetes or asthma, you're at increased risk. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist about vaccination and learn more at knowpneumonia.com. That's KNOW pneumonia.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? Because no two people sleep the same. Only the Sleep Number smart bed lets you each choose your individual firmness and comfort, your Sleep Number setting. The Climate 360 smart bed is so smart it actively cools or warms up to 13 degrees on either side for your ideal sleep temperature. And now, during our President's Day sale, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed, plus free home delivery when you add an adjustable base. Ends Monday. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Find a right Righteous Rage. And don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
We are, and you're invited in. Okay, I told you it's topsy-turvy. Well, call me now if you got something to say. This is the moment. Of course, so will next hour, because next hour we're talking about immigration. Ever since Mark Carter, the Republican, I say that hesitantly because I was told on X that he's not a Republican, but he says that his goal is to turn Chicago red and that he'll be voting for Trump and voted for him last time. Anyway, that conversation is continuing on X. And so I thought it would be nice, and actually I had a request from a couple people to have Attorney Nana Jomfi on here, talk about immigration, your questions, your opinions, all that are welcome. We're doing that next hour and looking forward to a robust conversation as always. But you're welcome in now, 800-920-1580, freestyle phones. You pick the topic. Very grateful to the LA Civil Rights Department, LA Civil and Human Rights is honoring me today, and I'm humbled with the recognition. It's their Tell Our Story, Honoring Black Journalists, Leaders, and Storytellers Award recognition under the leadership of LA Civil Rights Executive Director, Attorney Capri Maddox, and I'm grateful for the recognition. I also want to congratulate, you've heard it on our little spot, but I want to congratulate my colleague, technically my boss, Tavis Smiley, for his recognition and honoring by the Langston Bar Association. That's happening this week on Saturday. I guess folks are trying to give us our flowers, and it is greatly appreciated. I know we usually talk national. I'm going to stop saying that because the things are quite topsy-turvy, and I don't want to let this day go by without mentioning the fact that Los Angeles has a new police chief, well, an interim police chief, right? So Chief Michael Moore stepped down. He said that he wants to spend more time with his family, and okay. So he's leaving us at the end of this month, and stepping up for the first time ever, we will have an Asian American filling the spot of police chief. Interestingly enough, Mayor Karen Bass had a press conference about this yesterday. The police commission is designating this man named Dominic Choi as the interim chief, but he will not be considered for the permanent position. What the interim chief said in the press conference was that all of the candidates for interim chief were informed that part of the deal is you cannot be in the running to be the permanent chief, but they will be there guiding the department until the permanent chief is found, appointed, and sworn in. Now, this is meant to be a national search for police chief. At the same time, we keep hearing they want someone internal, and lots of murmurings about a woman becoming the next chief. I still remember when Michael Moore was appointed, there were some other folks in the running that have since gone on to different departments that might also be considered. Just yesterday, we were hearing that former Sheriff McDonald would be the interim chief, but that turns out to be not true. So I guess all the more reason why we are mindful of reporting rumors. And when I talk rumors, speculation, or imagination, I always let you know that that's exactly what that is. Chief Choi is the son of Korean immigrants, and he's been with the Los Angeles Police Department since 1995, went to USC. He's worked patrol. He obviously was promoted up through the ranks. He was a captain of Foothill and Pacific areas. In 2017, he was promoted to commander of Operations Central Bureau and was also the LAPD's homeless coordinator. He did that until 2019, and at which time he was promoted to deputy chief. He retired from that position last month, and they said that was unexpected. But I don't know, who knows what he had in his mind. But that is what we know so far about the man who is now, starting in March, going to be leading the LAPD. He said also at the press conference he doesn't expect to make any major changes. He expects to keep the ship on course until a new permanent police chief can be appointed. He did say he'll look at, what's working, what's not working, and see if there's things that folks can benefit from, but he doesn't expect to be making any major changes to the department. Praised the leadership of Chief Moore, praised many of the initiatives of the department, and said he has been involved in those. So we'll see. This is certainly an interesting moment, and I'm sure we'll be hearing and learning a lot more about interim Chief Choi as the days go by and as this story unfolds. But once again, the police commission and the mayor making a historical choice of the first Asian American ever to lead that department, albeit in a temporary role there as well. So we know now the President of the United States is not above the law unless it goes all the way to the Supreme Court and they decide that he is above the law, but we don't know when or if exactly that would happen. And I think what they would decide would be pretty obvious. I heard pundits on yesterday saying they really want to try, they really want to decide on more than one Trump case at a time so they can give the illusion of being balanced, even though this is a very extreme court and a very pro-Trump court. They're hearing right now the case of President Trump's ballot eligibility and deciding on whether or not to put him back on the ballot in Colorado. So I'm assuming they are going to put him back on the ballot in Colorado, and I'm hoping that, if they do that, in rapid succession, they'll hear the case about this phantom presidential immunity, that, if you're president, you're above the law, and that they will take the opportunity to push back against authoritarianism and dictatorship and rule that the president is not above the law, and that those cases can move forward and put the and put the ball back in the hands of the courts and the prosecutors. But I would imagine that they will rule in the former president's favor. In this case, I'm not a lawyer, but this is going to be important because other states are trying to keep the insurrectionist in chief off the ballot. And if the Supreme Court says that Colorado has to keep him on the ballot, that means that's going to impact many other jurisdictions that are trying to keep him off. If the court rules that he can be kept off the ballot, that state has said any votes for him won't count, because I guess they've already printed their ballots. But this is making the extreme court a major factor in the 2024 election, even before votes are cast. What do you think that means? I'd love to hear your thoughts. 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DiPrima, and you're listening to KBLA Talk 1580, 40 acres and a mic.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
LADWP is proud to partner with KBLA to share with you how to start the new year without bill worries. We're here to help if you're behind on your bill or need help staying current. Sign up anytime online for Level Pay to set predictable monthly payments throughout the year, including for past due amounts. You can also check out the special extended pay arrangements of up to 48 months to help pay down your bill. If you're a senior or income qualified, you may be eligible for Easy Save to receive discounts and also qualify for free and discounted energy and water saving devices. You can get up to $15,000 for past due water and or sewer bills and up to $3,000 for electric bills. But you gotta act fast. Funding is limited. You can reduce your past due bills and kick off the year right, because here at LADWP, we're here to help. Visit ladwp.com/cares today and find out more.
You like the style, guy?
At KBLA Talk 1580, we are unapologetic about amplifying the voices of those who have historically been left out of the conversation. As we approach our 3rd anniversary this summer, the problem with talk radio in Southern California specifically, and America more broadly, is virtually unchanged. All day, all night, all white. We make no apologies for our prime audience, but true to the best of our tradition, we're committed to expanding justice and freedom for all. So when we receive messages from listeners like Neil, we just smile.
I realize that I'm not your target demographic, but I love listening to your station as it is the only progressive station on the dial.
That's us. Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Right now, indeed. I'd love to hear from you. As always, I always like to hear from you, whether it's on social media or on the phone, 800-920-1580. Whether we agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. It's conversation. It expands our brains. If you're having a bad day, I hope you feel better. Come have some fellowship with us, 800-920-1580 or KBLA 1580 on all of the platforms. If you are desirous of hearing from the candidates, I know many of us are especially confused about judges. Judicial candidate interviews are up at KBLA1580.com, and you can get all of this information for free wherever you get your podcasts. But I started to say, if you are having a bad day, I hope it gets better for you. And also, it's not as bad as Nikki Haley's day. I mean, can you imagine losing to none of these candidates? She lost Nevada to none of these candidates. And that's because Nevada's got this weird thing going on where they have a Republican primary where Trump wasn't on the ballot because he didn't want to be. And they're also doing caucuses where Trump is the guy. And so they're going to have 2 different GOP results in Nevada. One apparently is the winner is none of these candidates, and the other one where we expect it to be Donald Trump. None of these candidates got 63% of the vote. Oh my. Luckily, that's not an option when we actually vote for president. Nikki Haley came in second behind none of these candidates with 30%. So none of these candidates got more than twice what she got. And then Mike Pence, all the way down, gets 3%, even though he's not running anymore. Tim Scott, 1%, and you have it. What does it really mean? Probably not a lot, other than just embarrassment to her as she tries to continue and has shown that she plans to continue in this race so that Donald Trump can have at least one opponent. She's raising her profile, raising money, and taking shots at Trump. I feel like, similar to what Adam Schiff is doing in the Senate race here, Trump is trying to Biden is trying to skip over the other candidate, which is singular at this point. It's only Nikki Haley, and go right to his fight with 45 because it's a better look for him. It's a better contrast. At the same time, when I say like Schiff, that's because Schiff has got these ads out where he positions himself as being the guy that's taking on Steve Garvey, even though we haven't had a primary yet, so we cannot assume that actually, he will be running against the Republican. Schiff wants to run against the Republican because California, when it comes to likely voters, when it comes to statewide tallies, is still a blue state, and he knows that Garvey won't stand a snowball's chance. So he wants to run against Garvey. So by putting him forward in these ads, it means that he actually is low-key promoting Garvey, because Schiff would rather face Garvey than Barbara Lee or Katie Porter in the November election. So, I'm not mad at it. Some people say it's kind of unscrupulous, but it's legal, and that's politics. Politics is strategy. Sometimes it's ugly, and sometimes it's tricky, and that's what it is. And that's what you see here. Biden would rather face DJT, he who shall not be named, and Schiff would rather face Garvey. And I can see why, not just because California tends to vote blue on statewide races, but also races, I said, not measures. You see, we lost again on affirmative action. But also because Garvey is just a train wreck. That reporting by the Los Angeles Times about his personal life is just, I think it's devastating. And you could say, well, that's his personal life. But when you're a Republican and you're running on this, I'm the law and order family values guy, then you need to walk the walk that matches the talk that you're talking. And this guy clearly has not. All of this came out after the debate, but we do have another debate coming up next month. And hopefully Porter and Lee will clean his clock about this, because clearly Schiff is not going to do it, because he would rather face a troubled and ethically challenged Republican than a woman, fiery, progressive woman Democrat, which are his other two options. I'm Dominique DiPrima, and you're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA reminds you that when we fight, we win, and we don't black down. LA Community Action Network, or LA CAN, was formed in 1999 when 25 residents of downtown LA came together and acknowledged the problems that existed in their community and made a commitment to do something about those problems, to stand together, organize, and become a force in the community that demands change. Civil rights and preventing the criminalization of poverty are their core projects. In addition, they take on women's rights, the human right to housing, and healthy food access. LA CAN also has projects focused on economic development, civic participation, voter engagement, and community media. While downtown LA remains their home base, with a particular emphasis on the Skid Row community, in 2007, they expanded their housing and healthy food access work into South Central Los Angeles. LA CAN believes that power for low-income people and people of color is achieved through a large, active, and well-informed member base that utilizes a multitude of methods to advance their messages and goals. If you'd like to join the Los Angeles Community Action Network and organize people to fight back against oppression, please visit cangress.org. That's cangress.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick. Sorry, kids.
Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision?
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
You are, and I'm looking forward to talking with Attorney Nana Gyamfi. We're talking immigration, and a lot of confusion is around this issue, and understandably so after yesterday's debacle and the last week's revelations around plans for a so-called comprehensive reform, and also the rather lively, heated discussion of Tuesday with Black Chicago conservative Mark Carter, who is on an anti-immigrant tear, but also says that he is a supporter of reparations for Black Americans. But I just want to finish up what I was saying about the race to be the next U.S. senator from California, not a state senator, but U.S. senator, ultimately replacing Dianne Feinstein, who made her transition. Of course, we know Kamala Harris is now vice president, and that left us with no Black women in the Senate whatsoever, which is why one of the reasons why a lot of folks are rallying behind Barbara Lee, because she would be the only Black woman in the Senate. Katie Porter's giving her a run for her money as a progressive and young woman who is trying to make the switch from the U.S. House of Representatives over to the more prestigious, clout-filled and also exclusive Senate. But state Senate, we have all those interviews up on the website. Steve Garvey is a baseball player who jumped in late to the race. He's a Republican. He had the nickname of Mr. Clean. He's very famous Dodger and Padre, which gives him, name recognition and some lingering love from people who watched him play. And he's running as a family values Republican, right? If you watch the debate as I did, he was very short on details and very long on platitudes and talking points that lead to nowhere. But the LA Times did a great story about, his image as Mr. Clean versus the reality, saying, quote, he struggled with debt, been repeatedly sued, faced a bitter divorce, and got 2 women pregnant before quickly marrying a 3rd woman in a scandal back in 1989. Back at that time, it was a much bigger deal to have these multiple baby mamas in drama before everybody got inundated with stories like that on Instagram. Now, 2 of his adult children from that scandal say that he's cut them off, won't talk to them, doesn't acknowledge them at all, and doesn't have a relationship with them. And one, Krisha Garvey, who's his eldest daughter, said 15 years ago he just stopped calling her. Doesn't want to see the grandchildren. She said she doesn't care about politics. She's not into politics. But she wanted the voters to know that this family values image is BS. She says she was completely abandoned by her father and that his public image does not match his personal life. I feel like that could be a subtitle to many members of the Republican Party, not the least of which is the 45th president who's running for office again at this time. Looking forward to the conversation with attorney Nana Gyamfi after news, traffic, and sports. That's next on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. 2 police officers have been shot and up to 8 people are unaccounted for following a standoff at a house fire. The house then became engulfed in flames. It's believed the shooter is one of the 6 to 8 people unaccounted for.